UFC Des Moines. This is the official betting video. How we doing, everybody? My name is Young Pasty, aka the White Boy Wonder, and I'm here today to give you all of my official bets for UFC Des Moines. We'll go over the parlay section, everyone's favorite section. Yo, we hit a couple of bangers last week. 23-1, 14-1, so check out the parlays this week. They'll be good for you too. We'll go over my lean section, so bets and plays I'm considering. Specifically, we go over fighter money lines, over and unders on the rounds, and then method of victory props, and lastly, my stayaways. So bets and plays I recommend you don't put your hard-earned money on. Now, as we always do, we got a recap last week. UFC Kansas City. Let's pull it up real quick. And hey, it treated us dang good. We hit 3 out of the 4 bets. Randy Brown screwed us on bet number 3 there. I just needed one more minute from him, and then he could have finished the fight. But, you know, Nicholas Dalby had a broken nose. It was crazy. But, hey, the 2-unit slapper, bet number 1 hit. Boost comes through as an underdog. Ian Gary comes through for us with a sketchy 5th round. And unfortunately, bet number 3, the 4-week win streak comes to an end. We are so close. We were literally 1 minute away. But, hey, we end UFC KC with a plus 3.057 unit profit. So we'll take the profit. We'll take the good momentum into this week. And hey, let's get it going. I can't complain about a positive week here. Now, if you're new to the channel and you haven't, click that subscribe button. I'm 5 away from 200, guys. So get me there. Like the video, comment, share, do the thing for the algorithm. The support goes a long way. And then secondly, my Patreon is free, okay? Links in the description. Get all of my plays when I actually place them, okay? Get the odds when they're good. They always sway the opposite way come fight time. So I'm generally ahead of the lines when it actually comes to fight day. So let's get it going here. UFC Des Moines, Iowa. Yes, my home state. Born and raised in Iowa, okay? I went to college in Des Moines for a couple years. Hey, I got a little personal touch and feel to this card, so I'm super excited to give you the bets. Let's start off with bet number 1. We have a 2-pick parlay. And hey, we sort these in confidence, guys, by the way. So bet number 1 is always the most confident play of the week, and it moves on down. So, yeah, we got a 2-pick parlay this week for bet number 1. Leg number 1, we have Montel Jackson. And leg number 2, we have Mason Jones. Sitting at minus 130, we are putting 1.3 units on it. Now, Montel Jackson. I can't deny the success of him in the UFC. 8-2. Lost him some dogs back in the day. Robertson coming out. When he was actually a dog and killing it. And he actually just got a recent win. But anyway, he's going up against the undefeated Daniel Marcos, who, hey, I am a fan of Daniel Marcos. I am. 17-0. Good kickboxer. Good striking. Actually has some decent wins in the UFC, but I would say Montel Jackson's gone up against better competition. Again, I just quit denying the success of Montel Jackson, guys. I quit it. I mean, he knocked out Damon Blackshear, who is on a roll, and I'm a super fan of as well. And that's just his most recent win, but he's kind of been known as a power puncher in the most recent fights, but he's a well-versed fighter, guys. Great BJJ. He's good at wrestling, clinching. The striking's obviously there, but he's a pretty well-versed fighter. So I think he hands Daniel Marcos his first loss in the UFC. So that's leg number 1, Montel Jackson. And then leg number 2, Mason Jones going up against Jeremy Stephens. 8-year difference in these guys. Jeremy Stephens is a hometown guy. He, born and raised in Des Moines, and did okay in the UFC until he didn't. I would just say he's honestly at this point he's kind of like the modern day Tony Ferguson, guys, right? Coming off a 3-year layoff too. Yes, he's fighting in other organizations, but it's not MMA, right? He's fighting like BKFC and doing boxing and stuff. So the striking is semi still there, right? He still has power, right? So Mason Jones can't be stupid, right? He can't come in there like a brawler and leave his head and chin exposed. Like Jeremy Stephens could potentially find the chin of him, but look. Mason Jones is much younger, much more athletic. He really just needs to mix in that wrestling. He has the better wrestling advantage over Jeremy Stephens. Jeremy Stephens hasn't had anyone shooting takedowns on him in years. You know what I mean? So I think he really needs to mix that in to get the job done. But both of these guys are solid legs. Two-pick parlay, Montel Jackson and Mason Jones, minus 130. We are putting 1.3 units on it. That is the most confident play of the week. Let's go. We move on to bet number 2, another two-pick parlay. We have the Petrovic money line and the over 2.5 rounds and the Sandhagen versus Figgy fight. Minus 141. We are putting 1 unit on it. Now, Ivana Petrovic going up against freaking Juliana Miller. Come on now. Like, this girl is just not UFC caliber. Petrovic's loss to Horth was a terrible decision, guys. I think it should have went the other way. Petrovic, I think, clearly won that fight. She's actually, decent, right? Juliana Miller is just wild and super unorthodox and has looked sloppy in the UFC fights that she's had. So I can't trust this girl at all. So Ivana Petrovic. And then secondly, the over 2.5 rounds on the Cory Sandhagen versus Deiveson Figueiredo fight. Figgy went 5 with Petersen, right? So can he not go 3 rounds with Cory Sandhagen? You know what I mean? That's my thinking on it, guys. I think this fight goes the distance. I think Sandhagen takes Figgy the full 5 and gets it done by decision there. But the fight's gonna at least go over 2.5 rounds. Figgy's tough. Sandhagen's tough. They can both take a shot. If they do get knocked down for some reason, they have the ability to not get finished. Good defensive subs from both of them too, if that threat's there. So the over 2.5 rounds, I think, is likely to hit. Very likely to hit. So put both of those together. You're sitting at minus 141. We're putting 1 unit on it. That is bet number 2 for the week. And we move on to bet number 3. And RIP bet number 3. Randy Brown was so bittersweet to us last week. Ended the 4-week win streak. But we'll get back going this week, guys. Bet number 3. The 3-pick parlay of the week. It's 3 plays that we put together to get a solid number, kind of around even money. So, first leg, Gillian Robertson. Second leg, Cory Sandhagen. Third leg, Azamat Bekoev. Sitting at plus 106. We are putting 1 unit on it. Gillian Robertson going up against Marina Rodriguez. Again, another showing of where youth is going to, be the winner of the fight. She's much younger than Marina Rodriguez. Rodriguez is tough. If it's a straight-up striking match, I think Rodriguez would win, but Robertson's got great takedowns, great wrestling threat. We're probably going to take down Marina Rodriguez. Get a lot of kind of ground and pound in, effective ground and pound, right? Sub threats there. She's been subbing people like crazy, so Gillian Robertson's going to get the job done. Cory Sandhagen, he's going to take care of business versus Figgy, right? Again, Peter Yan went 5 rounds with Figgy. Figgy's got a good chin. He's tough. He can stand in there and bang. Cory Sandhagen, he's just, when it comes to the upper echelon of the 135 weight class, I just don't think Figgy's up there to compete with these guys. Now, the line is crazy. That's why Cory Sandhagen's in the 3-pick parlay, right? Because the line's wild. Minus 400, minus 500 on Cory Sandhagen. But it's because he is going to get the job done. He's just going to, kind of outclass him. His wrestling's shown improvements in the last recent fights. His striking's there, always constantly switching up his stances and throwing in and mixing in different looks. So I like Cory Sandhagen. And then lastly, Azamat Bekoev going up against Ryan Loder. Now, this was tough for me, too, because Ryan Loder's another Iowa boy. I wanted to root for my Iowa boys, but they're just kind of outmatched here. Now, Azamat Bekoev is going to take care of business versus Ryan Loder. He's tough. He was going to withstand all the takedown threats from Ryan Loder. He can piece him up on the feet. Honestly, I think he takes him down on his own and gets a ground and pound knockout. I think that's super live. So Azamat Bekoev, Cory Sandhagen, Gillian Robertson, the 3-pick parlay of the week, sitting at plus 106. We are putting 1 unit on it. Let's go. We move on to bet number 4. We got Daniel Rodriguez. Yes, sitting at plus 100. He's an underdog. We are putting half a unit on it. Look, going up against Santiago Ponzinibbio, it's 2 older guys. This fight's probably going to go the distance. As long as D-Rod doesn't get taken down, that's really his biggest threat here, because I think he is a much better striker than Santiago. I think he needs to pour on the volume. He mixes in really good combos, leg kicks here and there, but he really just needs to withstand the takedown threat of Santiago. If that is the case, and it's just a striking match, D-Rod's got this all day. And even money, why not take a shot on the underdog? So Daniel Rodriguez plus 100. We are putting 0.5 units on it. Bet number 4. Keeping it short and sweet. Now, moving on to bet number 5. We have Reinier de Ritter on the point spread plus 7.5. It's sitting at plus 100. We are putting 0.5 units on it. Now, what does plus 7.5 mean? Now, when it comes to a decision, right? If this fight goes to decision, he can still lose this fight, and this bet can hit. It just depends on what the judges actually scored the fight to be. Now, if Reinier de Ritter just outright wins the fight, then this bet automatically hits. Now, when it comes to the scorecards, which I think this fight is going to go to decision, right? Plus 7.5. He has 7 points to work with on the judges' scorecard, meaning 2 judges can give all 3 rounds to Bo Nickal, 10-9, right? That's a 30-27, so there's 6 points there. And then if just one judge, gives RDR 1 round, then we hit this bet, okay? So I'm just relying on 1 judge at the scorecards to give RDR a round. The other 2 can give him a 30-27. I don't care. I just need 1 judge to get a 29-28 on RDR. Just give RDR 1 round, okay? 29-28 for Bo Nickal to win. Bo Nickal can win this fight, and this bet can still hit. Now, me personally, I think RDR is going to win the fight outright, but if it does come to a close decision, they're probably going to favor Bo Nickal, right? He's the young up-and-coming prospect, beating the new guy that just came out of a different organization and beat these 2 guys, Kevin Holland and Jeremy Mearshart coming into the UFC. But, now Bo Nickal takes him out. I think the UFC is really backing Bo Nickal. I mean, they have been ever since he's came out. I think he's overrated and thinks he's the crap, but he's really fighting a bunch of not really elite competition in the UFC. This is his most, every single fight that he gets is his most hardest, and not RDR, okay? If he beats RDR, technically he would go in the rankings. I'm weary of a biased decision from the judges, especially with all his wrestling, and then, where it's the UFC in Iowa. Iowa loves wrestling, you know what I mean? So I got RDR on the scorecards, plus 7.5, plus 100. We were putting half a unit on it. Those are all the official bets for the week. We have 5 official bets. There they are. So, you don't have to follow every single one. If you want to fade them, then fade them. You know what I mean? The decision is up to you. You don't have to bet with me if you want to, or you can bet with me in all my bets. It's really up to you at the end of the day. So we move on to everybody's favorite section. Yes, the parlay section. Let's go. And I just want to do a tiny little recap of last week because we hit a couple of bangers. Let's bring them up. The small one, the alternate to my 3-pick parlay actually hit. We had Zong, Ikram, and Matt Schnell plus 101. The second parlay, the decision parlay. We had Evan Elder, we had David Onama, and we had Ian Gary all by decision plus 1450. That one hit too. Yes, sir. And then lastly, the big one, the big dog, the big parlay of last week that I had smacked for me. And for y'all, if you tell. We had a boost by decision, Wellmaker, Gutierrez by decision, and Minyong KO. Plus 2,388. So all those parlays hit last week. So just wanted to bring that up. We had a really good week on the official bets and the parlays last week. But hey, let's get into it for the official parlays for UFC Des Moines. We'll go from small odds to big odds. And here is the first parlay of the week. Again, kind of a little alternate to my 3-pick parlay of the week. 3 plays that'll get you around plus 100. So we have Bo Nickal, we have Thomas Petersen, and we have the over 1.5 rounds on the Santos versus Tate fight, sitting at plus 110. I like all 3 of those. Next parlay that I got, I really like this one, which means it's probably, someone's probably going to shit the pie, but look at it. It's pretty good. We got Sandhagen by decision. We have Montel Jackson by KO/decision. We have Gillian Robertson by sub/decision. We have Mason Jones by KO/decision. Why I like it so much. Sandhagen's going to get it done by decision. Jackson could chin Marcos, but Marcos is tough. I could see him going all 3 rounds. Robertson, Marina Rodriguez, same thing. She's a tough girl, right? But the sub threat's there on Robertson's side, so that's why I like both of those. And then lastly, Mason Jones going up against Jeremy Stephens. I mean, ground and pound KO or beat him up for 3 rounds because maybe Stephen Jones is still that tough. So that's why I like all 4 of those, sitting at plus 454. We move on up to the next one. We have Yana Santos, just the money line. We have Thomas Petersen by decision. And we have the over 2.5 rounds on the Bolanos versus Lee fight. I like Yana Santos as an underdog, man. I do. And I say this for all my parlay sections every single week, right? I like all these plays individually. So if you see one of these legs, you're like, dang, I really like that. Put it in individually, man. A lot of these legs actually hit individually, so. Yana Santos money line. Petersen decision. Now, he's going up against Dontel Mays. I mean, what I hope happens, he does a pray, lay, and patter. Right? That's what I call it. Take Dontel Mays down, lay down on the ground with him, and just do a little hit there. That way the ref doesn't pull you up. So I think that's how he gets the job done. Because in a boxing kind of striking match, I think Dontel Mays kind of has him outmatched there. So I am really hoping, depending on Petersen, to mix in the wrestling. And then the over 2.5 rounds on the Bolanos versus Lee fight. It was really hard for me to pick Bolanos. I think he does end up etching it out, but I think the fight goes the distance here. And, adding, there's minus 30, minus 40 onto the leg there. Quang Lee could pull out a decision, you know what I mean? So it kind of covers that. So plus 677 for that one. We move on up. Okay, we're moving this on up. Another one that I like, but we're just doing the straight ones here. So Sandhagen decision, Jackson KO, Robertson decision. That's what I think all 3 of these fights end up happening. Plus 1475, so almost 15-1 there on that one. I really like that one. The decision parlay of the week. I don't know why I say that. I don't do one every week. But this is the one I got for this week. And, last week's hits too. And a lot of these fights, these days go decision. D-Rod by decision. Sidey by decision. And Petrovic by decision. Plus 1711. So, 17-1. Dang near almost 20-1 there. Now, the last one that I got, this one is a crazy one. So tail if you choose to. We have RDR decision. We have Azamat Bekoev KO. And then we have Bolanos decision plus 5,868. That one is a little wild and crazy, but it could hit. It could smack. So, I mean, we hit 3 of these parlays last week. So let's hit 3 more, right? Let's hit 3 good, 3 good ones. And let's hit 3 more. Let's hit all these dang parlays, okay? That would be amazing. That's it for the parlay section. So, again, I like all these plays individually. So, if you see a leg that you like, that you're really kind of confident and solid in that leg, then put it in. You know what I mean? You don't have to tail every single parlay. Maybe you just want to take a leg here and take a leg there and mix up your own parlay. Do what you choose with the parlays, but that's what I got riding for this week on my parlays. Next, we're moving into the lean section. So these are bets and plays I'm considering, but I have not put official money on yet. First, these are fighter money lines that I like. We're Serhiy City, minus 142. I like his chances to get it done against Cameron Smotherman. The length and the distance, I think it's just going to be too much for Smotherman to handle, and I've just seen Smotherman in too many suspect situations. Yeah, he's pulled himself out of it by some crazy knockouts in the end, but City's tough and battle proven, right? So I think he keeps the distance, and he has a little bit of power and pop too. I think he'll get these leg kicks in. The main thing, and I said it a bunch of times, he's going to keep that distance away from Smotherman. Smotherman's not going to be able to get into him. He'll try and get in, and maybe he'll start feinting knees or actually pull off a knee, or if Smotherman's trying to shoot a takedown or trying to get to the fence, Sidey's good on the fence too. So I think it's a solid play. And then Yana Santos going up against Miesha Tate. I don't like the inactivity of Miesha Tate, and really she's relying on the takedown. If she does not get the takedown versus Santos, then Santos is going to just kind of run around the octagon and make this a little boring kickboxing match and piece her up. So I do like Santos sitting at plus 114. So those are the fighter money lines that I like this week. Next are the over-under round props that I like. First is the Reinier versus Nickal. Over 2.5 sitting at minus 110. That's really not a bad number there, guys. Honestly, I think the fight goes the distance, and if there's a late round finish, then late round finish in the third round, then you could still cash on this. You know what I mean? So I think that's likely to hit at minus 110. Santiago versus Rodriguez at over 2.5 sitting at minus 210. Yeah, that's a little juice. That might be a parlay piece that you want to put that, but it's likely to hit, guys. I mean, these two old men sitting at 38. Now, the Carlston Harris fight, that was different. I think he's just over, right? Rodriguez is still there. He went 3 rounds with Gaston when he missed weight like 8 times. So, no, that was in recent years. You know what I mean? So, over 2.5 likely to hit there, minus 210. Ryan Loder versus Bekoev at under 2.5, minus 115. I think a finish is likely to happen, man. I think Bekoev finds him in the second round. I think Loder will gas himself out in the first round, and Bekoev will find a takedown and get a ground and pound knockout. So under 2.5, I'm sitting at minus 115. The Miller versus Petrovic fight under 2.5, plus 175. Yeah, I know I have a Petrovic decision in one of my parlays, but honestly, she could find a finish over Juliana Miller, and you're getting that at plus money. That's not a bad look. Or if maybe Juliana Miller pulls off some wild stuff and gets a finish, before the 2.5 mark. Plus 175, not a bad number there. If you think that's something that may happen, it could, right? Either of those ladies could get a finish there. We've seen a lot of ladies getting finishes here recently when lots of those fights usually go the distance. So. My last round prop that I like, Bolanos versus Lee over 2.5 rounds. These guys are both tough. They can eat shots. They can, withstand things on the ground. I think it goes the distance. It's just, again, this was one of those. This was my toughest fight of the week. Toughest fight of the week to predict when it comes to who to pick. I ended up on the Bolanos side, but I do think the fight goes the distance. So those are all the round props that I like. We're moving on to the method of victory props that I like. First is Sandhagen decision. I think he takes Figgy all 5 rounds, mixes in the wrestling a few rounds, and gets some top control to regain a little bit of energy and get some control and win some easy rounds. And then his striking is he keeps the distance and switches stances, and he's dang good. When it comes to the elite, I think Figgy can't hang with those guys in this weight class. So Sandhagen decision minus 150. RDR decision sitting at plus 600. Okay. Now I know he's on the official plays at plus 7.5. Now that's not a full confidence play, right? If you want RDR by decision, my full thought process on why he would win, plus 600, right? I think that's likely to hit. D-Rod decision at plus 200. If he wins, it's going to be by decision. So he's sitting at plus 100. Get yourself an extra plus 100 if you think he gets it done by decision. Montel Jackson, KO/decision. Either of those sitting at minus 155. He's got that knockout power, man. He could chin Marcos. But if Marcos is tough and can go all 3 rounds with him, then you got that covered too, minus 155. And you get a lower number on the money line, sitting at like minus 205, minus 210. If you think he just chins him, plus 350. Bekoev KO sitting at plus 210. I really like this look. This is something I'll probably just play on the side. But sitting at plus 210, again, I think he gets a ground and pound knockout over Loder. I think he does. And you're getting 2-1 over that now versus his minus 400 money line. playable. Robertson decision is sitting at plus 110. Rodriguez is tough. Okay, and we've seen her gone up against really good competition here lately and go all 3 rounds or all 3 rounds with them. Yeah, so there's no 5-round fights there. All 3 rounds with them. So, the sub threat is there for Robertson, but straight up decision sitting at plus 110. It'll get you a better number than minus 340, whatever that is. Lastly, Petrovic decision plus 110. Yeah, I know I'm sitting here contradicting myself on the over-under on the rounds, but if she doesn't get a finish, I mean, she's going to be the one to win, right? So it gets you a better number than minus 250, 230 in some places, right? Petrovic by decision plus 110. So those are all the method of victory props that I like, and we move on to the stayaways. So bets and plays I recommend you don't put your hard-earned money on. Now the first one here is the money line on the Mays versus Petersen fight, honestly, and the round props too, right? This is just a bottom of the barrel heavyweight fight, right? Maybe just kind of watch this one and see what happens. I think it's going to be boring, honestly. I mean, these guys really, when it comes to heavyweight class, I mean, yeah, they're in the UFC, but they really aren't that good or impressive. And when they go up against actual competition, they both get smoked, so I'm avoiding that fight. Something, he's in a couple, one parlay piece, but just something I'm avoiding. And then lastly, the over-under round props on the Mason Jones and Jeremy Stephens fight. Avoiding the round props on that. I do think Mason Jones finds a ground and pound KO, just like I just said with Bekoev, because Jeremy Stephens isn't seeing takedowns. I think he takes him down easy and throws in elbows from on top and fucks him up. So, but when that happens, I don't know. So I'm avoiding the round props on those. Now that's it. That's it, guys. Those are all the official bets for UFC Des Moines. Those are all the parlays, my leans, my stayaways. If you've made it this far, please click that subscribe button. I'm 5 subscribers away from 200. I appreciate it if I can get there. Like the video, comment, share, do that thing for the algorithm. Appreciate your support. UFC Des Moines, Iowa, my home state, born and raised. So I'm hoping my home roots come through for me and give me some good luck on this card. So thank you guys for the support. Let's make some money this week. UFC Des Moines, Young Pasty. We out.